with reports citing comments from Minister of Foreign and Caricom Affairs Sean Sobers and the Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa. The big question is, what does this mean for the relationship between this country, the Caricom Secretariat and the regional bloc? To discuss this further, we have live on the line political scientist Dr. Mohammed. Good evening, Dr. Mohammed, and thank you for agreeing to speak with us on this sensitive and widely discussed issue. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you so much.
Well, firstly, I'm going to ask you, what's your take on the matter at hand?
So, the bottom line is, this is a very critical moment. And the issue in itself is a very important issue as it pertains to the transparency and the accountability procedures and processes within, and the decision-making processes within CARICOM. And this is beyond what many people would think is politicization, but it's a matter of where Trinidad and Tobago stands in the CARICOM, our critical role and function as a member state, as well as how the fact that our Prime Minister is a very critical organism to the CARICOM the CARICOM operations.
Yes. And you say that, and I have to ask you, because we've seen the media reports, right? And they indicated that the reappointment of Dr. Barnett was not a part of the overall agenda at the 50th regular meeting conference. And you know that Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, as well as the Bahamas, were not allowed to participate in the retreat held in Nevis. And therefore, you know, and you said about the Prime Minister being a very important part of CARICOM, and of course Trinidad and Tobago. So in your estimation, why were we not allowed to participate as a fellow member state?
So it's not a matter of we or any of the member states that were not present at the retreat. Well, it is not a matter of us not being allowed to participate in the retreat. The retreat, as it is called, is not a formal aspect of the entire Heads of Government conference. The retreat is like an addendum that allows heads of government, because it's exclusive, first and foremost, it is exclusive to only heads of government, not ministers, not anybody part of the entourage, no representatives of the member states, save and except for the heads of government. And what it is an opportunity for heads to get together and to fellowship and whatnot with each other. It's not a formal entity within the structure, nor is it an entity where formal decision-making takes place. So, for example, with regard to this matter of the election or appointment of a CG, of an SG, that should have first and foremost been on the agenda as part of the overall proceedings of the CARICOM head. And as part of the agenda, it should have been tabled for discussion, for conversation, for, in some instances, debate. But the bottom line is, it is not for the decision to be made at the retreat. Any discussion that was raised at the retreat has to come back to the conference to be able to have a formal decision taken. So the fact that where the uproar is happening is that this appointment is essentially ultra-virus. It is outside of the realm by which it is said it had taken place. The only place in which the appointment can take place is at the conference of the heads of government within the proceedings, not as an addendum, which the retreat is.
Yes, and Dr. Mohammed, I hear you loud and clear. Of course, thanks for clarifying that. But just the last one before we go, what does this mean when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago? Because as we know, we are one of CARICOM's major financial contributors. What does this mean moving forward in that regard?
Well, first and foremost, we are the highest contributing member. We, Trinidad and Tobago, as a state from inception of the CARICOM, contributes 22% to the budget and to the functioning of the Caricom Secretariat, and therefore Trinidad and Tobago is a critical aspect. What this is that first and foremost, the decision is not legal. Trinidad and Tobago has also objected, and as the fact that Trinidad and Tobago and or any other member state has objected, and there's a no to the appointment of the Secretary General Barnett to the role, the fact that an objection has been raised, one, there's an emergency meeting that can be called. Two, the Secretary General can choose to resign, or essentially there should be an emergency meeting of heads and a decision taken. The bottom line is, most decisions, according to Rule 24, they first seek to agree by consensus. When there is no consensus, they then move to a vote. And that's where we are. A country, more so Trinidad and Tobago, and any country, as long as there's an objection, there has to be a discussion and a vote in some instances. And that's where the Prime Minister has raised her hand. So really and truly, a discussion needs to be raised. They should all just forget about how we get here and now deal with what's next. And what's next is, Trinidad and Tobago has said no, has objected, and therefore a meeting has to be held, whether by heads virtually, for a decision to be made on the way forward. Whether that means that other countries, including us, can submit a nomination, but the fact of the matter is there's an objection, and the objection has to be dealt with by heads only.
All right, Dr. Mohammed. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us on that issue. We look forward to talking to you again really soon.
Have a good one.
Political scientist there, Dr. Shane Mohammed. Well,